In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You are advised that any view expressed by the host or their guest are not necessarily the views of the owners or management of TogiNet Radio, Togi Entertainment, or the Owners Group, Inc.
Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio, live on TogiNet.com. Co-hosted by Tina Gonzalez and Sandra Back, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the resources that are available in both the public and private sector. And we'll be sharing helpful information from women around the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother, both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio. And here are your hosts, Tina Gonzalez and Sandra Back.
Hey, military moms, this is Robin Boyd, and I am here all by myself today, but I'm sending a warm hello to Sandra, who's under the weather. She's got a little bronchitis, so we're sending her some tea and some vitamin C and hoping that she's better real soon. And I'm also here for Tina. Tina is back in school. She is getting smarter than smart, and we are just so proud of her. She's just doing some wonderful things. So we're saying, hey, Tina, we miss you, and Sandra, we will hopefully be chatting with you real soon. In the meantime, we have a wonderful gal today who'll be on shortly. She's from an organization called TAPS, T-A-P-S. If you have not heard of that, her name is Betsy Beard. But before we say hello to Betsy, I'm just going to do a little housekeeping because we have just started this year off with the most dynamic things, and we are just on a roll. We're going to have some wonderful people coming up as well. So before we just go screaming into 2011, I thought I would just back up a little bit and cover a couple of topics that we have been involved with here on Military Mom Talk Radio. One of our dear friends, Carolyn Blashak, is from Operation Gratitude. And if you have not visited their website, opgratitude.com, yes, it is .com. This organization sends care packages to individual soldiers, sailors, airmen, or Marines. Their packages have over 50 items in each package. It includes food, hygiene products, books, and most importantly, personal letters of appreciation. Well, the folks over at Operation Gratitude are having a labeling day coming up on February 11th. It's going to be from 9 to 2, and if you are in the Van Nuys, California area, check out their website and find out how you might be able to take part in that event. If you have been following us with Operation Gratitude, they, just over the holidays, sent 45,000 holiday packages overseas to people who are deployed, and among those were their 600th package since the inception of their organization. So you can see they're a very incredible organization, and we
Get ready for The Athlete Within You with Mike Margolis on TogiNet, Monday nights at 9, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. Do you know about the game within the game? You've heard about sports psychology, mental toughness, mental training, and preparation. Well, athletes from all over the country have been seeking out Mike Margolis for close to 35 years for his expertise in helping them live up to their potential. He's worked with athletes from professional football to elite-level figure skating and every sport in between. They've all sought his counsel and unique teaching style to learn about the game within the game, or what sports psychology and mental training can do to help them become the athlete they want to be. Mike works one-on-one with athletes. He trains them, puts on seminars, and conducts workshops for coaches, athletes, and businesses. For more on Mike, his book, and the show, check out his website, theathletewithinyou.com. Then, come join us as we discover the athlete within you with Mike Margolis. Monday nights at 9, 8 Central, 6 Pacific on TogiNet.com. Congratulations on being the proud owner of an adorable, soft, cuddly, sweet-smelling, smiling, cooing, hungry, tired, gassy, screaming little bundle of joy. So now what? Where's the owner's manual for this thing? Where are my instructions? Right here. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com.
Hey, this is Sandra at Military Mom Talk Radio. We seem to have lost Robin. Carrie, are you here? Okay, well, we're live here with Military Mom Talk Radio, and we have Betsy from TAPS coming on the show with us. We've lost Robin in New Hampshire, and I'm not sure if you guys can hear us. If we're still broadcasting, it would be helpful for me to know that. But either way, we're going to have Robin from TAPS, and TAPS is an outstanding program, and she is an amazing woman who has been with the organization. She also has been a user of the organization, and as we're waiting for Robin to get back on the line, we're going to go back to Operation Gratitude and talk a little bit about the organization that Carolyn Blasek heads up and does so well. She sends care packages with the help of a lot of different people that get involved with the organization.
Hello.
Are we here? Do we have Robin?
Now I'm back. Oh, my goodness. You know what happened? My battery died on my phone.
Oh, my gosh. Well, that's what happens with live radio, so you got me for at least a few minutes to come on to the show.
Why don't you go get some tea, Sandra? And I'm just getting back into our chat area. You doing okay, Sam?
Yeah, I'm doing great. But I love for Robin to take over. And,
so
you guys go back on the air and we're good to go.
There, that's great. Let's see where we are time-wise, Carrie. Just because what I was talking up, I wanted to make sure that we finished up with Operation Gratitude, opgrat.com. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about Carrie Johnson. That's what I think when my battery died, I was trying to talk about Carrie Johnson, A Dollar to Care. This is a wonderful organization that provides support to families who have soldiers that have been incarcerated. Regardless of the circumstances that brought them to this, their families are experiencing challenging and difficult times. So we want to make sure you check out militarymomtalkradio.com and read that article about A Dollar to Care, because we want to make sure that we take a look at this very serious side of things that have been happening. I also wanted to talk a little bit about A Heart Apart. We had two guests on recently, Melissa Seligman and Chris Piper. This darling children's book is a wonderful interactive book, and it is an opportunity for a child's name and photographs to be put into the book. The child can help create the book, and then not only will the child receive a copy of the book, but so will the person who is deployed. So if you are interested in learning a little bit about that, please go to our website. You can read that article and also visit www.lifecreated.com, LIFECREATED.com, and we can make sure that you can get a book of your own if you like. So we have just a couple of minutes, and what I'd like to do before we get into our break, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about TAPS. Our guest today is Betsy Beard. She is a surviving mom and a TAPS staff person. TAPS stands, it's an acronym for Tragedy Assistance program for survivors. And this is a national organization that provides compassionate care to anyone grieving the death of someone who served in the military. It was founded out of tragedy by military families in 1994. It's a nonprofit organization and has offered support to more than 30,000 people to date. So obviously they are reaching out and doing an incredible service for these families. TAPS provides peer-based emotional support, grief and trauma resources, seminars for adults, good grief camps for children, care, work assistance, and 24/7 crisis intervention. I'm just really enchanted to hear a little bit more about these good grief camps. I just think, as we have realized with some of the authors that we have, and we've got another gal who's coming on next week writing a book for children. This is something that I think we're realizing the children really are needing to voice their feelings and giving them validating the feelings that they're having, whether they're angry or whether they are confused or whether they just don't know what they are and they need some way of venting that. So I'm really anxious to talk to Betsy about that. Do we have Betsy on right now already?
Right here.
Hi, Betsy. Welcome.
Thank you.
We've got a couple of minutes before break, and I promise I'm not going to leave you. It was one of those technical things.
No problem.
What part of the country are you calling us from?
I am calling from North Carolina.
Wow. What's your weather like down there?
Dreary, overcast, a little chilly.
Oh, well, we have, I am in New Hampshire, and we have had crazy weather. We had a blizzard last week, and then yesterday and today we were up in the 30s, and we were running around in short sleeves. We felt like it was summertime.
Yeah.
We do. Now, we've got about 30 seconds before we have to take a commercial break, but you are on the national staff, I understand, for TAPS. Is that correct?
I am. I started as a volunteer and then eventually was doing a lot of writing, and so I have been with the staff for about 3 years now.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we have lots of questions to ask, and we have about 10 seconds before the tunes come in. We're with Betsy Beard from TAPS.
Are you a military mom? Looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? That's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Tina Gonzalez. And we'll be right back after these. Parents, if you feel overloaded, overworked, underappreciated, and seriously stressed out, The Parents Plate is here to help you. The Parents Plate with Brenda Nixon. Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet. It's time to build stronger families through parent empowerment. And that's what The Parents Plate does. The Parents Plate understands the busyness of life and balancing child rearing and other commitments. Brenda Nixon will be talking to noted experts and authors on all issues, from teething to teen driving. Brenda Nixon is a nationally recognized speaker to parents and child care professionals and author of the award-winning The Birth to 5 book. From Fox 4 in Kansas City to schools and synagogues to businesses to bookstores, conferences to churches, audiences rave that Brenda engages, educates, and encourages. For more information on Brenda and her books, check out her website, BrendaNixon.com. The Parents Plate is loaded with information and affirmation. The Parents Plate with Brenda Nixon. Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Everyday Autism Miracles with Shannon Penrod. Friday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Life after an autism spectrum diagnosis doesn't have to be difficult. It can be joyful, happy, and filled with hope. Join Shannon Penrod, author, speaker, coach, and mom of a 6-year-old recovering from autism, for this inspirational hour of hope. She's even authored a series of children's autism books with her son, Jim. For more information about the books, Shannon, and Everyday Autism Miracles, go to her website, shannonpenrod.com. From there, you can also get to our other websites, blogs, and connections. On Everyday Autism Miracles, you'll hear stories from parents whose children have made miraculous strides. You'll also get the inside dish on therapies, treatments, supplements, and how to get funding to help you afford them. Miracles abound in the autism community, so tune in for Everyday Autism Miracles to listen, share, laugh, and surround yourself with hope. Everyday Autism Miracles with Shannon Penrod. Friday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com.
There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com, covering topics to help on the home front, with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sail at the BX. Now, let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Tina Gonzalez and Sandra Back.
Welcome back, Military Moms. This is Robin Boyd in for Sandra and Tina. We're here with Betsy Beard this week. She is from the organization called TAPS, Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. Betsy, if in fact you are involved in TAPS, I realize that this means that you too have experienced, you are a surviving mom. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. Our son, Specialist Bradley Scott Baird, was serving in the Army in Iraq and was killed on October 14th, 2004 by an IED. It's the most shattering thing, as you can imagine, that ever happened to our family. And in the aftermath of that loss, we had nowhere to go. None of our neighbors or friends had anything for us, and we were fortunate to discover the TAPS organization. Our casualty assistance officer had left a TAPS magazine with us, and one of those horrible middle of the night roaming around the house crying bits, I found the magazine and called the organization.
In the middle of the night?
Yes, well, TAPS is here for people 24/7. We have help and information lines open all the time. If you call, you will talk with a live person, and we were just beside ourselves. We had nowhere to go with our despair and our discouragement and our sorrow. So it was wonderful to be able to call TAPS and talk to someone else who was in our same position, someone who had lost a loved one in service to America.
Yeah. How long had he been serving, your son? How long was he away?
Well, actually, Brad had enlisted some months after 9/11. He had been attending North Carolina State University with a scholarship in engineering, and he really felt that what he was doing was not as important as serving the country. So he enlisted in the Army starting in March of 2002, and went through the usual things. And I know that all the moms out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Your little kid grows up, the one that you couldn't get to make his bed on any given day, and he'd sort of become a couch potato, computer geek kind of person, but this was important to him, so he made it through basic and his advanced individual training, and his first post was Korea. So he was there for more than a year, and from there it was decided that a brigade would be sent to Iraq. Brad was not in that brigade, but he volunteered to go in there. So he had served. That was the summer of 2004. So he had served already for 2 years.
Did you have a network of other military families, even during his deployment? Had you already connected with people?
Yes, as most of the moms out there will realize, since we don't live on Army posts or Marine bases, there is no family readiness group for us, but a group of women, mostly moms and also spouses, fiancés, siblings, had formed a virtual group. It was a Yahoo group, and it was specifically for the loved ones of the family who had family of those who had been deployed from Korea straight to Iraq.
Oh.
So
well,
it was wonderful to have those moms. We all worried together. We bit our fingernails.
Oh, sure.
We laughed. We cried.
Yeah.
We carried on.
Yeah. I'm sure that was somewhat helpful, just at the beginning, knowing that you had somebody else, just that was aware of what you were going through at a military point of view, not so much, anybody. It's always so difficult because no matter who leaves you, it's difficult. But not having seen him for a while and having that network of people that you'd already established must have been a help.
It was. It was wonderful to have them, and they were very supportive. Most of what we did was email, and we would do chat rooms, but some of them actually came and attended Brad's memorial service, traveled from different parts of the country, and kind of how military moms are. We band together and we help each other out.
Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Not long after this, then you became a mentor yourself.
Actually, it was only a matter of weeks before I was calling TAPS, desperate for additional support. And it was great to talk to the military moms, but none of them was in the same dark place that I was. They were still in the I'm so worried because my son is deployed place.
Yeah.
But when I called TAPS, one of the programs that we have is called the TAPS Peer Mentor Support Network. If you call TAPS and ask for a peer mentor, that would be someone who has been bereaved, and what we do at TAPS is try to match somebody up with the same relationship, moms with moms, siblings with siblings. And I was able to connect with a mom in Vermont who had lost a son 4 years before I had, and this was kind of a lifesaver because I realized if she can live for 4 years after the death of her son Brian, then I can do that too.
Wow, that's so powerful. I think when you get to when you are faced with this, you just don't know how tomorrow you'll ever get through tomorrow, and to be able to have somebody there and say, "Oh my gosh, I can wake up tomorrow and I can do something tomorrow," and the peer mentoring made a difference to you, so therefore,
exactly.
You were wanting to turn around. It's similar in that folks with cancer often are the same way. I was stricken with cancer about 12 years ago, and I needed the people who had already been there and done that, so to speak. And
that's right. The experience
turn
helps.
Around. Yeah, it makes such a difference.
Right.
And beyond the peer mentoring, then the TAPS magazine was a part of your life.
Well, I found out early on in the grief that I just had to get everything out, and I would write copiously, journaling, poetry, scribbling in anger, whatever it took. I called it hemorrhaging on paper, just getting all the bad stuff out. And because I was doing a lot of writing, there were pieces that I would send in to TAPS, and they would put in the magazine. So as the years progressed, I began to start doing more of the writing, and then when I was put on staff, I was given the position to handle the magazine as the editor.
Wow. And is this both a print magazine and online, or is it only?
It is.
Yep. So anybody can. Do you have to sign up to get it online, or do you?
If you go
register?
online, and it's relatively simple because our URL is taps.org or www.taps.org. But if you look around on the website, you'll find a place with resources, and the magazine is listed right there. You can look at each of our back issues just by looking at the PDFs online. But for those who are surviving family members, once we know who they are, they automatically have a subscription for life. It's at no cost to them. We kind of think that the price paid has already been high enough.
Well, yeah.
And so TAPS is a nonprofit. We rely on donations, and because of that, we're able to put our programs into effect for the survivors so that it doesn't cost them any additional money.
That's wonderful. Do you have contributing articles from grief counselors, and or is it sort of a vehicle for people to express their points of view or their families' trials?
Well, actually, there are 3 components with the magazine. We have feature articles, usually about 6 of them, and this is a national quarterly magazine. So we'll have probably 3 articles by professionals in the field and 3 articles by survivors themselves. And then the other components of the magazine are the news area, where we get everyone abreast of what's going on with TAPS and how we can help them. And then the last one is we have different departments, so poetry, Grief 101, resources that we can point our survivors to, things like that.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you said this is published quarterly, correct?
It is. It is.
That was my other question. I wanted to make sure we knew how frequently this came out. This must have been just a wonderful cathartic process for you to become involved with this magazine.
It actually is, and
yeah.
I think one of my favorite quotes is in Emerson, Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's one of the most beautiful compensations in life that no man can sincerely try to help another without helping himself.
Wow. Isn't that beautiful? Betsy, we're going to take a break. I'm here today with Betsy Beard. She is a surviving mom, and she is a TAPS staff person, Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. You can find them at www.taps.org. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about your writing skills, Betsy, because I realize you also have authored a children's book, so we want to find out a little bit more about that.
All righty.
Back here in a few moments with Betsy Beard after the tunes on Military Mom Talk Radio. You can catch our our podcasts on iTunes and at militarymomtalkradio.com. Here we go to the break.
Are you a military mom? Looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? That's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Tina Gonzalez. And we'll be right back after these. Come be a part of Pat Sloan's Creative Talk Radio. Her goal is to inspire you to be creative every day. Pat Sloan's Creative Talk Radio, Monday afternoons at 4, 3 Central on TogiNet.com. Pat lives and breathes being creative through her quilt design business, but her creativity and interests have no bounds. On her show, she'll be introducing us to guests through interviews and talks that have a creative life. We'll learn more about what goes on in the world of quilting. And since Pat, like many of us, is creative in many ways, she'll also introduce us to creative people in other crafts like knitting, crochet, paper arts, and lots more. Pat is also an author, a lecturer, designer, and cheerleader of many. She's tried her hand at making almost everything you can think of and does many crafts to keep her inspired to create. Check out her website, patsloan.com. What makes Pat most happy is to inspire others to be creative every day. So join us for Pat Sloan's Creative Talk Radio, Monday afternoons at 4, 3 Central on TogiNet.com. Thursday nights, get ready for the Read My Lips Tips for Success radio show with your host, Linnea Millette, at 11, 10 Central on TogiNet.com. What are the Read My Lips Tips for Success? Well, it's spelled out like this. R, Realize it is possible. E. Embrace all relationships. A. Advance through adversity. D. Develop your significance. M. Manage your health and wealth. Y. Yield to your natural abilities. L. Listen to your heart. I. Invest in yourself. P. Persist by taking small steps. And S. Serve others. Each week on the show, you'll find a safe haven whereby tips, insights, and strategies are shared by Linnea and her guests. Go to Linnea's website, readmylipstips.com. Then join us Thursday nights at 11, 10 p.m. Central for the Read My Lips Tips for Success radio show with your host, Linnea Millette, on TogiNet.com.
Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com, covering topics to help on the home front, with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sail at the BX. Now, let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Tina Gonzalez and Sandra Beck.
Courtesy.
Hi, military moms. Welcome back. We're so glad that you're with us today because we are having a chat with a most incredible woman. Her name is Betsy Beard. She is a surviving mom, and she is also representing Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, the TAPS.org organization. Now, Betsy, I just wanted to mention you are a facilitator as well. Is that correct, of workshops?
Yes, I've done several workshop presentations with TAPS at our national seminar, and then we also have a local support group in the Raleigh, North Carolina area. And I think in order to understand some of our programs, if I back up a little bit and tell a little bit more about TAPS.
I'd love that, yes.
Okay. We have... Our basic thing is that we're there for emotional support and peer support for survivors. And most of us feel extremely isolated when a death occurs. And honestly, our families and friends don't know how to handle us, and we were that way too. Death is a horrible thing.
It's very hard.
Yes, and so what we do is not only do we have our peer mentor support network, which is more the telephone, email kind of one-on-one, once a week, keeping up with someone who's a new survivor, newly rebreathed. But we also have an online community that's fairly active. We have different chat groups for different relationships. Siblings have a group, parents, spouses, surviving spouses, and also fiancés. At TAPS, we are there for anyone who's grieving the death of a service member, not just one relationship or the other, anyone. And it doesn't matter what the circumstances of the deaths were. We're just there for everyone. There are other organizations that aren't quite so inclusive, but it was felt from the beginning when Bonnie Carroll founded the organization that we needed to have our doors open to everyone, whether it was a combat death, an accident, a suicide, which we've seen a lot of recently, or even illness. Anyone who's suffered the death of a service member is welcome at TAPS.
Now, you mentioned Bonnie Carroll. Is she singly the founder of TAPS, or was she a part of a group that founded this organization?
Well, she really is pretty much single-handedly and single-heartedly the founder of TAPS. When her husband, Brigadier General Tom Carroll, was killed in a plane crash in 1992, she discovered at that point that there was nothing on the national level or even on local levels for surviving family members. So after a number of months, she and the 7 other widows whose husbands had been killed in that plane crash began to get together, and they found comfort and healing. And that's when she started looking into how can we make this a national program? She did a lot of research on best practices of different other groups like COPS, which is Concerns of Police Survivors, and so she worked to make this a nonprofit that was listed in every state of the union. So it took quite a lot of time, and they began in 1994 in the fall of the year. And since that time, TAPS has helped really thousands, tens of thousands of people, and not just adults. We also have a special children's branch of programs too.
Now, does the organization have satellite staff people that are across the country? So if somebody is needing, say, to have some kind of a workshop or some kind of, I don't know, would you call it an intervention or some kind of support, are there staff people around the country, or do they need to come to you, or how does that all work?
Well, that's an excellent question. We have, in addition to the Peer Mentor Support Network, which is nationwide, and anybody can dial a telephone, can get support that way, we also have we have mainly our national office in Washington, D.C., and a small group of professional staff, and some of the people deal with casework assistance, helping the survivors get through some of the governmental red tape or just answer questions that they don't have the energy to track down the answers to. We have people on standby if there were an emergency anywhere across the country. We work with chaplain agencies. We also do something that is new in the last 3 or 4 years, and that's a regional survivor seminar. And what we do is we take our staff members and go to different parts of the country, usually on bases or posts where there have been heavy casualties, and we will have a 2.5-day regional seminar, which is patterned a little bit after our national seminar that's held every year in Washington, D.C. on Memorial Day weekend. So we get help out into the individual regional areas probably 15 times a year, 15 to 20 regional seminars. And the other thing I wanted to mention about the children's program also, not only in the national survivor seminar, but also in all the regional events, we do have a children's good grief camp, which runs concurrently. So those who have children can come, allow their children to be cared for at the same time that they're learning to cope with grief and finding new people that understand what they're going through.
That's wonderful on so many levels, because I think, I have not been in your shoes, so I do not know, but I know children need to process their grief as well. And I think many times parents are so stricken by the death of their loved one that the little ones that are around them also need to process. And I think the support often has gone to the parents and the support, and then knowing that there's something for those kids is just amazing. That is just such a wonderful part of your organization.
Yeah, we have trained professionals also on staff with their degrees in the child mental health. I'm at a loss for words here. I can't, just not really sure what.
Right, yeah. I love the name, Good Grief. I mean, that's just darling, and it just gives that little, it's almost like a little hug right then and there. It's a little hug for these kids.
It is. Now, during the national seminar, we have generally probably around 300 to 400 children. And one of the components of the camp that's the national camp is that we also have trained military mentors who work one-on-one with the children. So they're in groups that are age-specific, and they each have a military mentor. We draw from most of the bases and posts that are in the D.C. area, and you'd be surprised how many of these military men and women will give up their 4-day weekend to come and work with the children of the Good Grief Camp, and they'll be with the kids from 8 in the morning until 10 p.m. at night.
Oh, my good grief.
Yes.
Good grief.
That's an amazing component of that program.
Wow. How many children do you have, Betsy?
I have 2 children. Brad, that we talked about a little bit earlier, who is buried in Arlington National Cemetery and who now resides in heaven, and then Stacy, who is our daughter and lives near us in the Durham area.
Mm-hmm. Was she younger than Brad, or how old was she when you lost Brad?
She is younger, and so she was 19 when this occurred, and wow. It's been a devastating blow for her. A lot of people don't understand the sibling relationship, and when you really stop to think about it, it's the one relationship that lasts you all your life from the day you're born until you die. Your parents, at some point, die before you, is to be hoped, and you don't usually meet up with your spouse until you're in your 20s, so the sibling bond is really strong, and we have a very active sibling group in TAPS as well.
Has she been involved in TAPS with you?
She has. She's done some of the mentoring, and she's also attended the sibling retreats, another one of the programs that we have at TAPS. We try once a year to have retreats for siblings, some for spouses, some for parents.
Yeah. I wondered if she, too, found a purpose that she could go and support others, or if her choice was to go in a completely different direction. Has she been involved in any of your workshops as far as from a presenter point of view? Well,
in fact, she has her degree in music, concentration of vocal performance, so she's written songs and performed them not only for TAPS but also for other presentations we've made with the VA and with local organizations as well.
Oh, does she have anything on YouTube or anything on an MP3? We could put it on our website. We'd love to.
I wish, and I will poke her.
Oh, good. Well, poke her a little harder. Tell her we'd love to share, because the good that she is doing by writing and creating these beautiful thoughts and memories and music are going to be just helping so many others. We've got another break coming up, Betsy, and I do want to talk in our last break a little bit about your children's book, Klinger, A Story of Honor and Hope. I would love to share that, and we'll get a little bit more information. We also want to put your phone number out there to TAPS, 1-800-959-TAPS. And again, the website is www.taps.org. We're here with Betsy Beard of TAPS.org.
Are you a military mom? Looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? That's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Tina Gonzalez. And we'll be right back after these. Believe in your fairy tale to make your zing come true.
I love it.
Debbie Glickman and Deanna Cohen know it. Join these soul sisters on TogiNet.com. Believe in your fairy tale to make your zing come true. Showcases 2 sides. 1, to help entrepreneurs showcase their products and tell their story of their happily ever after. And 2, to interview people who have realized their own fairy tale and doing something to benefit others. This show is here to help folks who have an idea and want to get it off the ground, as well as to inspire people to make the world a better place by doing something extraordinary or out of the box to help others. Both of these entrepreneurs have their own businesses and websites. With more information on their passions and successes, first for Debbie, fairytalewishesInc.com, and for Deanna, thenextbigzing.com. Believe in your fairy tale to make your zing come true with the Soul Sisters, Debbie Glickman and Deanna Cohen on TogiNet.com. Adoption, Journey to Motherhood with Mary Beth Wells. Monday mornings at 9, 8 a.m. Central. This is not your typical show about adopting children. This is a shared experience from Mary Beth's heart. Mary Beth will be talking about and covering all the issues pertaining to adoption, including adopted parents, birth parents, adoptees, foster care, and infertility. So, how did your journey to motherhood begin? Or are you still on the path? We want to hear all voices sharing their stories and talking about those issues that are so dear to our hearts. You see, Mary Beth is a birth mom that relinquished a child for adoption and ended up coming full circle by adopting 2 beautiful little girls from Guatemala. And that led to her starting a doll company about adopting baby dolls from all around the world so that children could choose their own doll and learn about that doll's heritage. For more on Mary Beth and her dolls, go to PreciousBabyDolls.com. Then join us for Adoption, Journey to Motherhood with Mary Beth Wells. Monday mornings at 9, 8 a.m. Central. Remember, the heart knows no boundaries.
'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com, covering topics to help on the home front, with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sail at the BX. Now, let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Tina Gonzalez and Sandra Back.
Welcome back, Military Moms. This is Robin Boyd, and I am here today on behalf of Sandra Beck, who is recovering from bronchitis. She is doing a little better than she was over the weekend. Sandra, we miss you. We love you. We're sending you warm hugs and tea. And we're also thinking of Tina, who is doing so many wonderful things. She's so busy with her kids and back to school. What an incredible journey she is taking right now. So we're thinking of you, Tina, and hoping all is well and saying that we miss you. We are here today with Betsy Baird. Betsy is with the TAPS organization, Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors. And this is such an interesting conversation, Betsy. I am in awe of you. You're such an amazing woman, and I thank you for all that you are doing. We we send our condolences for your loss, but in this loss, the help that you are able to extend to others and provide for others and continue in your son's name is just amazing.
Thank you.
We want to talk a little bit, as we were talking in our earlier segment, so many times the need for children to process the loss of someone is so important. And one of the things you have written, as well as editing, being editor of the TAPS magazine, is this wonderful children's book, and it's called Clinger, A Story of Honor and Hope. What is Clinger about?
Well, Clinger is about a real horse who lives in Joint Base Meyer in Arlington, Virginia, and he is one of the caisson horses that gives military honors for fallen service members. And he is one of the horses that every year when we go to the TAPS Good Grief Camp, the children get to visit.
Oh, how awesome.
So, yeah, because of our relationship with Clinger, he's about 16 and a half hands high. He's a Morgan Percheron cross, one of the big draft horse type guys. And because he's so gentle and helpful with the children of the Good Grief Camp, Bonnie had wanted us to have a story about Clinger that would kind of showcase the TAPS relationship with him. So I did a lot of research at the stables and got to meet Clinger firsthand. He's beautiful. And I wrote a book about Clinger with a little plot line that he was wanting to be a racehorse when he grew up, but he just wasn't fast enough. Oh. And so when he overheard the farmer and the trainer talking, he was very sad, and he had to leave his family and go far, far away and he wasn't really sure what he was in for, but he arrived at Fort Myer, and the other horses kind of took him under their tutelage and helped him learn how to be a caisson horse. He's trained by the soldiers, and then he serves in the cemetery there. And the first day that he worked, he met a family and realized that the children's father had died, and he was very sad and wanted to help them. So the story comes full circle on Memorial Day when he gets to spend time with the children again.
Oh, gosh. How precious. Those horses are absolutely stunning. I actually saw something, and I'm hoping that we could connect with this person. There's a gal there who is in charge of these horses at Arlington, and she also runs a program for wounded warriors to be able to go and ride them. Do you know who I'm referring to?
No, but I know about the program because I've seen the pictures of that. So the horses not only provide military honors, but they provide healing for the TAPS children and for the wounded warriors. It's about, with the warriors, it's about learning their balance when they've lost a limb.
Sure. It was a wonderful program, and I remember scrambling to write all the details down, and I believe it was on History Channel. So they just are wonderful. So how delightful that you wrote this story about Klinger. I'm looking forward to reading it. I have not had a chance to put my hands on it yet.
Well, and the other amazing thing is that because we were able to get a grant for the printing of the book, when people buy the book at our online store, every penny of it goes right into the programs, the camp programs and children's programs that we...
Oh, wonderful. Now, where can we get it at the TAPS website or through Amazon?
Absolutely. It's just there at taps.org, and I believe that if you're on the home page, there's a key for online store over on the right, and very easy to find. Very easy to find.
How can
it's a book that we wrote it, although we wrote it for the children of the fallen, it has wider application to other military families. In fact, one of our reviewers was Deborah Mullen, the wife of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Admiral Mike Mullen. And her comment was that every American should read this book. So it would be suitable for young children. It's a 40-page, fully illustrated, color, hardcover children's book, and it also works for grown-ups.
Absolutely. How can people help TAPS? I would love to do something for TAPS, but I need to know how.
Well, the first thing would be go to the website and look at some of the different programs that we do. Again, right on our home page, there's a button that says Volunteer with TAPS.
Okay.
And not only can you write to volunteer@taps.org, but you can look around the website and see what kind of things we do that would be interesting. One of the fundraiser opportunities that we have is our Run and Remember team, and what that is people who are willing to run a marathon or a portion thereof, or a 5K or a 10K, or walk it in memory or in honor of a fallen service member. And then they get together with the family to honor the service member, and they do some fundraising. And that's one of the programs that's one of my favorites. There are other events and participations. Of course, you can donate money as well as time. And
are there, when you were talking earlier about these satellite workshops or that you were having, are there ways that maybe somebody could host a seminar or host a program?
Since that's not my department, I'm going to defer to the Director of Volunteers, Natalie Milani, and if you just write to volunteer@taps.org, she can probably connect you a lot better than I can with some of the different things that we're doing. We also are an approved charity with a combined federal campaign. Those who are federal employees would be familiar with that. It's kind of the United Way of federal employees. You can give in your workplace donations as well.
I guess the reason why I was thinking of that, I know our National Guard up here does tremendous programs, their family program, and I could see that being something that they would coordinate or host or whatnot, because they do so many programs for the families, and while someone's away, when someone comes home, when someone leaves, they've got just a wonderful network. So
right.
Yeah, and you were saying the Baghdad. I noticed something here in the notes about the Baghdad bracelets. We can purchase them, or
oh yes, also on the store. That's a very beautiful program. When Bonnie was over in Iraq, when she was serving over there herself, she made connections with some of the women in Iraq, and they wanted to do something in gratitude for the fallen service members. So they make these bracelets. It's actually, I believe, a woman who owns the business that does it, and they make the bracelets as a fundraiser for TAPS. Those are also available on the website.
Okay.
Again, just from the home page, you click on online store, and you'll find several other ways that you can support us by buying some of those products.
Wonderful. And there again, it's www.taps.org. And we want to make sure everyone visits that soon, by all means, because I think every time we have a guest on, it opens our eyes. And truly, Betsy, this has very much opened our eyes, opened our hearts, and there's something that you just shared with us through our chat area that I'd like to read in closing. We want to say thank you, but I want to read this poem that you wrote. It was written on July 25th, 2005. It's entitled, In Honor of Our Fallen Heroes. Against the dark and graceless night, a candle burns, so small yet bright. One flame alone, one tiny light to mourn for lives lost in the fight. Against the fear of grief, alone remembering soldiers loved, well known, 2 candles burn. The light has grown to honor names now carved in stone. Against the pain so strong, so deep, more candles burn. Their bright flames leap. They have a sacred charge to keep, to shine for soldiers now asleep. Betsy, thank you so much for being a part of the show and for being a part of the lives of so many people who have given the utmost gift to our country. Betsy, thank you. Betsy Beard.
Thank you, Robin. It was an honor and a privilege to speak with you today.
And please look forward to reading more about the things that Betsy has to share with TAPS Magazine. You'll find that at taps.org. This is Robin Boyd in for Sandra and Tina. We hope you'll catch the podcast at iTunes on Military Mom Talk Radio. We'll see you next week when we're going to visit with Pat Brisson. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll catch you next week.